I'm gonna bring you guys into our crane department right now. I'm not sure if you guys are all familiar with all the different types of cranes we have over here at Chapman. One thing that I like to focus on when I'm out on set is the difference of each crane and the versatility of each crane. Everything has limitations, everything has advantages, right? One thing that we do here, I think, and I think everybody would agree, we're super strong on bases. When you come over here, right, start to look at, first one we're gonna look at is our Ultra CS base. Okay, our Ultra CS base, has a hydraulic post on it. When we pull this thing up, you can get up to 9 feet high. I mean, that's a tremendous amount of clearance to have on a pushing base, right? Something that you can still put in on a stage or outside, depending on where you're at on location. But this thing has a huge advantage compared to most because I can use the arm, and I'm gonna show you on another one, but I can use this post in a shot, right? Because a lot of times we wanna do a hydraulic drop before we wanna use an articulating drop of an arm. I can drop this down in the shot and be able to make it usable, which is kind of a great feature to have. As we come behind us here, like I said, talking about bases, and when we get out on set, right, we wanna have things that are super versatile, okay? This is the all new ECS base. Again, same thing, a hydraulic post that we can go up and down on, in a shot, but now it's all electric too, even the base. So we can drive this thing, half a mile, whatever, through the woods, whatever. It's got, self-leveling, so you don't even have to add a level. So when we land, it automatically levels itself and it's ready to be used, okay? We can get up to the 45-foot Scorpio on this thing. So super versatile on set. We know we're on set. One of the biggest issues, right, is starting an engine and having an AD turn around and go, what's going on over there? So anything that we can be, one, that's low profile, two, that doesn't cause attention to us, and the most important thing is one guy can do it. And that's one thing that I try to focus on set, something that we can do smooth out of everybody's eye line, right? We start look over here, you start getting into, the E-Scorpion base, okay? This is an all-electric off-road base, okay? What you're seeing on here is the 45 on here, so, ton of versatility as far as where you go. It, again, all electric. You can't really run it in the shot electric unless you were outside and it was kind of a loud shot, but it is definitely, again, low profile on the noise. You're starting to see, I want to come back here and talk a little bit about cranes. What you see that we carry here is Scorpios and hydroscopes, two different cranes, obviously still doing the same thing, both articulating arms, right? Both kind of, in a lot of ways, have the same features. A Scorpio is a little bit more digital, where it's more programmable, where the hydroscope's a little bit more analog. But the hydroscope has some huge features, I think, that a lot of people have seen in the past that still come into play every day with you. One thing that we have here that I love is if you look at the nose of a hydroscope, it's the only nose with the camera on that you can flip from underslung to overslung with leaving your camera and the head on there. So when you talk about versatility, when you're on set and a shot changes and evolves, because gosh, we know how much that happens, right? We're not limited to saying, hey, we got to pull ahead, pull the camera and all this stuff, and it's going to take 20 minutes to, pull out the nose, flip it upright, and all this is something we can do in like 30 seconds. But as we come over to this base here, and as we're talking bases too, is you're seeing the Raptor with, right now we have our sand and snow tires on here, okay? We had this out at Pismo a few weeks back. I mean, it's just tremendous through the sand and all that. Got kind of a cool look, great in the snow, all right? Getting into little 17-footer. It's amazing how small they look now, huh? Yeah. But, again, this is the Scorpio. You can start to see it's programmable. I mean, and if none of you guys are understanding what programmable means, it's like I can set stops and I can set my arc compensation. Arc compensation is a way for us to take a 17-foot crane that has, 13 feet of travel and make a 26-foot move by putting the base in the middle and making the arm do it this way. I can set a 1 and 2 and keep that arc take away the arc and make it a straight line. And that's called arc compensation. That's something that's newer on the digital cranes. Hydroscope doesn't have that. But without that all those electronic components, what you get in a hydroscope, right, which is amazing, is it's weatherproof, right? When we get outside, we know, depending on the element that you're on, I don't love to put an accordion on. I love to be able to just keep my crane free so I can see all the way down. I love to be able to see camera at all point, So, it just gives you another option. The other thing that I do love, by the way, I just want to show you one thing on this crane. So when you look at a hydroscope, okay, there is something that's, lock this real quick. Okay, first of all, when you look at this post here, what I do love about it, a lot of times we got to figure out how to walk up and down apple boxes. What's nice about this is it's got the ability to drop your post, okay? Not a lot of cranes have that, and it's kind of a huge thing for dolly grips to be able to do that, okay? The other thing this has for dolly grips, it's got a knob here. So I can make this articulate in and out from back here. If I'm on a process trailer, I don't always like to put the trigger in my hand. I sometimes love to use that. All right, as we walk over here, we got another ECS base and another Ultra CS, okay? I mean, you can just see the versatility in bases. Cranes and case bases have come so far in the last few years, but what I really want everybody to know is not all cranes and not all bases are good for every shot. So depending on location, we want to make sure that we have what we need. We also want to let you know what are your resources? What are your other options as shots change and you get that advance notice to know what else you have. All right, guys, thanks for coming into the Chapman Cranes.